It's Tuesday, August 11th. The time is 5:16 p.m. and the temperature is 29 degrees Celsius. This is the Toronto Chinese Archway, which greets you as you enter the city's East Chinatown neighbourhood, which is located in the area of the city known as Riverdale. On Saturday, I did a night walk through the city's main Chinatown, often referred to as West Chinatown, so I thought I'd come over and take a look around the much lesser known East Chinatown neighborhood. This is Gerrard Street East, and just to the west of here is downtown Toronto, once you go over the Don River. And straight ahead is the former Don Jail, which is now a part of the Bridgepoint Healthcare Center. And directly ahead is Hubbard Park, which is named after William Peyton Hubbard, who served as Canada's first black politician. He was elected back in 1894 and served until 1914, and even served as the acting mayor of the city. So East Chinatown is relatively small. It only encompasses a few blocks to the south of here, which we'll go check out. And then I'll continue on straight down Gerrard Street East here, where it runs for probably about 4 or 5 blocks. Then I'll loop back on one of the residential streets. That's the 505 Dundas streetcar, which runs down Broadview Avenue. That'll be making a right onto Dundas Street West. Just to the north of here is Broadview Station, where you can take a streetcar. Broadview is also on line 2 of the subway network. So this eastern Chinatown was first settled in 1971. There was an original Chinatown located around the City Hall area, which was expropriated in the 1950s to make way for the new City Hall. And most of the residents there migrated to the west to form the main Chinatown, which is located at Dundas and Spadina. But in 1971, a gentleman named Charlie Chung came to this part of town and opened a Chinese butcher shop, and since then, a number of other members of the Chinese community have come to this area and opened up various establishments. So that's about as far south as East Chinatown goes. And what I'll do is I'll turn right here onto Gerrard Street East. And then when I get to the end of the main retail stretch, I'll travel back west along one of the residential streets. And then we'll come take a look around the Don Jail. And then I'll just walk up to Riverdale Park. There are streetcars that serve this part of Gerrard Street. However, they won't be operating until next year due to some repair work. So currently there's buses running in their place. That's the Carlton streetcar line. And just across the street there is AAA. It's a bar and grill house. I think that one even has some arcade machines in it. They have a few other locations in the city, one on Queen Street East, and then there's another one on Adelaide. There's a large presence of Chinese, Vietnamese, and Vietnamese in this area. So you will notice a lot of Vietnamese restaurants. Certainly has a bit more of an older world feel to it than the regular Chinatown. And certainly a lot less busy. I think this is primarily a Mandarin-speaking Chinatown, whereas the main Chinatown at Dundas and Spadina was settled by those from the south of China and Hong Kong, so that used to be primarily Cantonese-speaking. This restaurant here, Bamboo Leaves, is the highest rated, at least according to Google reviews, restaurant in this neighborhood. They're known for their sticky rice dumplings, but I have never been. In recent years, there's been an increase in property values in this area, which has driven some of these businesses out to the suburbs. As I mentioned, this is one of two Chinatowns in the city of Toronto proper. You might hear that there are several Chinatowns in the Toronto area, and that may be true. It depends if you count strip malls and shopping centers as Chinatowns, as there's certainly a number located in Markham and Mississauga, Scarborough, and the surrounding areas. But in terms of proper Chinatowns, the city of Toronto really just has these two. And that Mimi restaurant is quite excellent. That's one of two restaurants I've been to frequently in this area. I've been to some other ones, but I'd be lying if I told you I remembered them. There is Degrassi Street. I have no idea if this is of any relation to the TV show, The Kids of Degrassi. Or Degrassi Junior High, however you call it. It's had numerous spin-offs over the years. I know the original show was filmed back in a part of Etobicoke called Long Branch. And believe it or not, this is almost the end of East Chinatown. Just across the street there is Bac Yen. I can vouch for that as being an excellent Vietnamese restaurant. There's a French restaurant I've heard good things about. And if we were to continue on straight here, this would take us past Gerrard Square, which is a large shopping center where you could find a Walmart. And if you were to continue on past that, you'd find yourself in the city's Little India area. And I don't know the name of the street I just turned onto. It gives us a good look at some of the residential homes in this area. And what looks to be a very old church. And this is Simpson Avenue I'm approaching. So maybe I'll just make a left and come down here and take that back to Broadview Avenue. A lot of churches in Toronto these days display a rainbow flag out in front. And this is the Metropolitan Community Church. I'm not seeing much in the way of information in terms of how old the church is itself, but there is one of these take a book, leave a book neighborhood libraries here. That's a trend that's started in the city over the past several years, and I believe it's caught on quite well. Toronto Premier Gymnastics Center. So it looks like it also serves as a community care, Canada's most influential church. I couldn't tell you how old these homes are, but if I were to guess, I'd say the majority are well before 1950. This one looks like they might be operating as some kind of daycare. Couldn't tell you what percentage of the residents in this area are of Chinese descent. Oh, it looks like the sun is hitting us pretty strong right now. I'd say this is a pretty desirable part of town. You've got Riverdale Park within a short walking distance, which is easily one of the city's best parks. Just to the north of here, there's Greektown. Just to the south, there's Leslieville down on Queen Street. And straight ahead to the west is downtown. You're also not a far walk from Broadview subway station, or you could take the streetcar. So if you don't drive, you're still fairly well connected. So it looks like straight ahead of here is the Bridgepoint Healthcare Center. I remember growing up, there was a hospital here. I think it was called Riverdale Hospital. And that would be the former Don Jail straight ahead. And just to the left here, if I'm not mistaken, is where that first Chinese butcher shop was opened back in 1971. In this building right here. There it is, 383 Broadview Avenue. So that's where this whole neighborhood got its start from. And right there is Riverdale Library, which, interestingly enough, is a bilingual library. But it's not English and French, it's English and Chinese. I know the lighting's not great, but I'm just going to wander a bit closer to the Don Jail here. This jailhouse was originally completed in 1864. However, it's been renovated in recent years, and in 2013, it was opened up as an administration office for this hospital. you'll see they left some of the original bars over the windows on the exterior. And prior to the abolishment of capital punishment in Canada, a number of inmates were actually hung to death at this location. It was originally a jail for men and women. It had 184 jail cells. And now it currently has a healthy population of pigeons. And just to the north of here is Riverdale Park, which I've previously shown off in some videos. Hopefully the sun's not going to be too much of a problem, as the view of the city from the park is westward facing, and this isn't the optimal time of day for that. Broadview Station and the entrance to Greektown would probably be about a 10-minute walk to the north from here for most people. And just up ahead is a statue for Sun Yat-sen. He was a well-known Chinese philosopher. He was also a physician and a politician. He was actually the first serving president of the Republic of China, if memory serves me correct. He was a member of the KMT party, which were later forced to flee mainland China, and they settled in the island of Taiwan. And that party still exists in Taiwan today. But they lost the last election by quite a landslide. They're sort of known as a nationalist party these days. I would have to say, of all the countries I've ever traveled to, Taiwan is certainly one of my favorite ones. For a country that was only founded about 7 years ago, the fact that they're such a strong democracy is quite an accomplishment. When I grew up, if something said made in Taiwan on it, that usually meant it was cheap garbage, but that's no longer the case. Just see if I can get a view of the city here that isn't blinded by the sun. A lot of those taller towers are running north to south along Yonge Street. And the ones more to the south are in the financial district, which is centered around Bay Street. Someone in the comments in my last video through here mentioned this cafe. I believe it's called Rooster, as being particularly good. The real money shot of the city is just this way a bit. And then I think I'll head up to Greektown. So I'll stop recording just before then. It's often a popular place to camp out and take a nice view of the city in. There we go, that's looking towards the financial district. You can see the CN Tower popping up out of the back. And that tall building straight ahead is the Aura condominium located at Yonge and College. And that's One Bloor East, the tallest building poking out there. And if you were to continue up north, there would be more towers. Well, the next tallest cluster of towers would be at Yonge and Eglinton, which isn't quite in view. But there you go. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this quick tour of Toronto's East Chinatown neighborhood. There are links to my Instagram and Patreon in the description if you're interested. I always look forward to your comments and feedback. If I missed anything of particular interest, feel free to point that out. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.